Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. You are now listening to That Infernal Noise podcast, part of the Mental Health News Radio Network. Fuck yeah. Okay, hold on.
You'd think you'd be used to this by now.
You would think. Okay. Hello, everyone, and we're back for another episode of That Infernal Noise, and we're here with more shenanigans, and I'm just going to say shenanigans because...
Every time, apparently.
Yeah, because it's all shenanigans. My shirt is fitting weird, I think. So that's going to be a thing. So we've been together for 12 years officially now.
Yes.
As of yesterday. Mm-hmm. Can you still remember, like, that night that we got together?
Yeah. Of course I do. I remember. I'm the one that remembers everything. I don't know why you're asking me. Am I wrong?
No.
Okay. I remember minutia that other people just push out of their head immediately.
Myself included. I do forget things.
Oh, I thought you meant that I push you out of my head. I'm like, no, the fuck I don't.
I don't know. No, I'm kidding. I'm not
Shut
even going to
the
joke
fuck
about that. Not even going to joke. Calm down. Calm down. So, what's it been like being with me for 12 years?
A task. And I know how bad that sounds,
That
but
sounds horrible.
I mean, that's what it is. It's like we figured out for the first time in our lives that a relationship is work. You know what I mean? Like really, truly understood what that means.
Yeah, I think because we
can't talk right now. That's helpful during a podcast.
Okay, so both of us have been married before. And obviously we are married to each other, so that means that we have both been divorced.
As far as I know.
I went to my court hearing, so yeah.
You went to my court hearing too, so
I did. Do you think
I try not to.
I mean, I guess. Do you think that... What do you think was different about our relationship? Because I know that there are differences from my first marriage to our marriage.
Well, considering he and I are different people, I would assume that.
Yeah.
Very similar, too, if you really think about it. But that's a whole nother fucking argument. But
what do you think is different about our relationship?
We weren't kids whenever we got into it.
That's
the main starting point. It's like we already had lived enough life by that point to where it's just like, no, we kind of know what we want now. We don't know how to fucking do it, but well, I mean, it's not even the previous relationships. It's just we were emotionally stunted at the time.
Agreed.
And some would argue that we shouldn't have been together at that time. And I don't necessarily disagree with that.
Neither do I.
But
in hindsight,
it's just the way everything worked
though.
out and everything kind of aligned. So it was either go time or no time type of thing.
I agree.
So we took a chance. And
I think
I would argue we paid for it a little bit.
A little bit.
Well, I mean,
no, it's
just
honest.
Be completely real about it. Like, you weren't ready for shit. I wasn't ready for shit.
Yeah.
And it could have crashed and burned.
It
almost did a couple times. So
yeah,
I think what it is.
I think that's what a lot of people don't realize. They have
about our relationship or in general.
In general, about relationships, because like grandma and grandpa had been married for
I don't even know. I have no idea.
61 years.
It was something insane.
61, 62 years, something like that. Because I remember their 60th anniversary. I think.
You probably remember better than I do, and they're my grandparents.
This is true. But I think what a lot of people don't realize is that all relationships are work. So these marriages that last 50, 60, 70 years, it's not like they had a fairy tale story. It's not like they had a perfect marriage. And I just mean older people in general, people who've had these really long relationships. And I think a lot of people...
I mean, part of it is they didn't have the ability to go as many places either. And I don't mean like physically, I mean emotionally. Like, they didn't have social media and all that shit. Yeah. Like, you had to meet people, you had to do things if you were going to cheat on your wife. Just to be real. And I'm not saying that that's what it is, because they always point to, oh, well, we didn't give up on things. It's like, no, you had a lack of fucking options is what it boiled down to. But that's a different fucking argument.
Fair. That is fair. There, like, times are
You
different.
Fucked 100% of the people you were able to fuck. That... and you did not have access to more. So I think that argument is unfair. But
it was... my thing is that it was still work. It's still difficult. It's still a relationship that you have to work on. You know, being an individual is hard enough.
Well, it doesn't help whenever we were individuals, we weren't even aware of what that was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we had built our lives. God damn it. Our lives and personalities around so many other people and so around many other factors. The group dynamic and like all of that shit that we didn't even know who we were anymore. And we started in a relationship not knowing who we were, and that complicated things, to say the least. Because while it was fine at the beginning, like at the very beginning,
yeah,
it wasn't too long in before we realized,
oh, wait,
what the fuck are we doing? Like, and not in the relationship aspect, but what are we doing as individuals?
Yeah. And
it just became our entire identity, and we got lost in it.
Yeah. I personally, I don't think I ever knew who I was, just because for my whole life I was put into these categories or these roles or positions that were incredibly unfair to me. Mm-hmm. So I don't think I ever got the chance to find out, quote unquote, who I was.
And see, I never really found out who I was. There was just like the knowing you're not living up to your full potential, which is a phrase that I hate because I heard it so much growing up. But
same.
But it ended up being true. It's like they were talking about something else. They were talking about like school and shit like that.
Yes.
It was deeper than that for me, at least. I don't know.
Yeah. I agree. I see what you're talking about, because I feel exactly the same way. Like I said, I was forced to be certain things to certain people that wasn't fair to a child. So I think I understand what you're talking about, as in, like for me personally, I was never...
You just knew something wasn't right.
Yeah.
Like something was missing.
Like, I was never able to be authentically myself, regardless of what that meant.
But whenever you're younger, you don't know what that is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, it's like we've had all of these years since then to figure all that shit out.
Yeah, so it's not a potential of education or system, per se. It's more of a potential of who you could have been as a person, I think, is what should really be the focus. Kind of getting off track a little bit, but I do see the difference. Like, we could have tried harder in school, and we could have done all these great things educationally.
Yeah, but if we hadn't fucked off the way that we did, who's to say we would have been in the same circles, in the same places, like all, and that's where my head goes with all of it. It's
absolutely true.
I try not to believe in like divine providence or whatever the fuck. But I do at the same time.
That's fair.
It's just like everything happened that way for a reason. Maybe I wasn't supposed to know myself until
now.
Recently.
Yeah.
Very recently.
Yeah. But I do understand the not living up to the potential of a person, just because I've always been the doormat and the other things for people. I've done all the things for all of the people. So it's, so going into a relationship, and again, anybody who knows us, our origin story is not a Disney
Messy
story.
as fuck.
It is not a Disney story.
We met whenever you were married to somebody, I was married to somebody, and it wasn't each other.
Yes.
So that is the entire start of the whole thing.
Yeah, and just goes very Jerry Springer from there.
So fucking Jerry Springer. Whenever you make comedians be like, oh.
More than once.
And it's happened more than once.
Not even just once.
It's just
more than once.
It's insane.
It is, but at the same time, that's life. Life is messy. And of course, we can always say, oh, this decision wasn't the nicest. This decision wasn't the best. It wasn't. I
it wasn't. We hurt a lot of people along the way.
Yeah, there was.
Including each other.
Yes. And I just think that while our story is not one to...
It's not one to aspire to be.
No.
Like...
Do things correctly.
Do things above
people.
board. Don't be sketchy like we were.
And it wasn't like...
It was.
Will you let me finish my sentence? Thank you. It wasn't like... at least from my side, I wasn't like trying to hurt anybody purposefully, but I know that it did happen. I'm not dumb. So already, not knowing who we were as people, we were still young even when we got together. We were still young-ish. We were...
Wait, what am I now? 39? So that means I was, 27?
Mm-hmm. And I was 25.
Yeah, but we've already gone over that change. You know what I mean?
Yes, but still,
that 25-year-old mindset shift kind of thing.
Yeah, even then, it wasn't...
Oh, no, I'm not arguing that. But we had already at least figured out that shit wasn't right. And that we
still just did it anyway.
But my point is that we saw something.
Yeah.
And knew that the connection that we have is different for some reason.
It was,
we couldn't explain it then, and I'm not entirely certain I can explain it now.
I know I can't.
It's just one of those fucking things. It's like we've always understood each other, even before
because it wasn't
all the other shit. Like we had a friendship, and for some reason we just fucking clicked.
And I don't know, because it was weird because it wasn't like a love at first sight thing or like an attraction at first sight thing. It wasn't.
I'm not going to say
that. Okay. I love you dearly and I've been with you for 12 years now. But for me, it wasn't that. It was, you weren't a bad person and I liked hanging out with you, but there wasn't that.
Did you say I was a bad person? Because I was. I absolutely was. I felt like, I'll listen back to it. Sorry.
Well, if I did, you weren't a bad person. Oh, whatever.
There are people from that time that would disagree with that statement. And I am probably one of them.
Okay. Well, I didn't think you were a bad person.
We've also established that you were not the best judge of character, especially then.
Can we get through this part?
Maybe.
Maybe. I just, it wasn't like a love at first sight or even lust at first sight. It was, oh, okay.
You can speak for yourself on that.
Okay,
I was fucked back then. Like,
because I remember the show that I met you at. I don't even remember what venue it was at, but everybody was writing on the tables. I remember meeting you. Was it at the door?
It was the door.
Wow. That place went to shit by the time that show happened.
It was still a nice looking venue, though.
It was.
It just wasn't what it used
to be. But I remember that's when I first met you. I remember the night. I thought you were really cool, really intriguing. What you wrote on the table is still one of my favorite things ever.
What was it?
Oh, it was from Devil's Advocate. It was from Pacino saying that vanity was his favorite sin.
Definitely my favorite sin.
So...
Still one of my favorite lines.
And I don't
Which
know.
is weird because I'm not like vainglorious or anything.
No, you're not.
I'm the exact opposite.
I don't know. You were intriguing, but there wasn't that at that time for me, there wasn't that, oh, this is going to be somebody that is meaningful in my life. I think it was just because I was preoccupied. I had other friends there. I was dancing around. I was doing all these things. And then it wasn't until the better part of a year later, at least half a year later, at least, at the show at O'Reilly's. And then that's when it clicked for me. And I don't know what it was. I don't, because we had hung out a couple
You
times.
locked my wife in a truck.
Not on purpose. It was
That
an
should have
accident.
been like an omen right there. It was like,
But it wasn't my truck. I didn't know how the truck worked. I just shut the door because I thought that's what I was supposed to do. And then it was just locked and running. And she was passed out. Anyway.
yeah.
So, but going in, like, knowing our story, seeing where we've been, what we've come from, it's very...
We made chicken salad out of chicken shit.
Yeah. And then...
Like, straight up.
Us,
like, we should have failed for so many reasons.
Agreed.
And for so many instances and things that have happened and all of that shit. And for whatever reason, we didn't. We still persevered and got through it. And I know that people would say, well, the way you started that's the indicative of your entire relationship. And I hate whenever people say that, is because...
Well, because I've heard
you don't
those things
know
from
the
people
circumstances.
Too. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, was it right? Absolutely not. Did we hurt people? Absolutely. Was it okay that we did that? No. But it's just the way everything played out, unfortunately. And to be honest, I'd do it all again.
If it meant that we're right here.
Exactly. And that's what I said in my post for the anniversary shit. I'd do it again. And I know that's not fair to a lot of people,
Yeah.
but
It's already happened, so...
It is what it is.
Sorry,
like,
everyone.
I ended up finding the love of my life because of it.
Yeah.
When you were the other woman. You know what I mean? Like...
It sounds... No one's gonna
On paper, it's a bad read.
It's a bad read. It's such a bad...
Take the shit to court, we're the assholes, no matter what.
Outside of court, I think we're still the assholes in the situation.
Fair. But ultimately, it's just like, things shake out a certain way for a certain reason. We didn't understand it then, don't fully understand it now, 12 years later.
Yeah.
But we've got 4 fucking kids that we've been raising for the past 12 years.
Yeah.
One of them's already off on his own. The other one's right behind him. And then the little 2 are there night and day compared to where Chris and Kaylee were at that age.
Yeah. But that goes back to our
Yeah, because we finally figured out how to actually raise kids well after we started raising kids.
To be fair, I came in way after.
I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying, it's like, I didn't know what I was doing. You got thrown into it overnight.
Yeah.
And
I married into 3 kids.
And it's just like, how do you deal with that? How do you handle that whenever you yourself don't know who you are? And that was a lot of my problem younger, is that I went from being 19 with no kids to 20 with a kid 4 days after my birthday. That's a big fucking jump, you know? And it's just...
Yeah.
I wasn't ready for it, and I apologize to Chris all the time. I apologize to Kaylee all the time.
Yeah.
But Noe and Logan get the benefit of us fixing ourselves. And Chris and Kaylee have to a certain extent. It's just they're further removed from it because they're not as young and impressionable as they once were, obviously, because she's 18, he's fucking about to be 20.
But I
have to keep saying it so I get used to it.
That's fair. But with those changes in us, I think that they still get benefits. It may not be the exact same benefits as the younger 2.
No, but they get to understand their parents a little bit better.
And I think that they feel more open to talk to us about pretty much anything.
Chris talks to me just like me and Garibald talk. I would say it's concerning, but it's really not. I'm glad that he feels comfortable doing that.
Yeah.
And Kaylee, Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah.
She busts my balls more than anybody else on this planet, which is saying something.
Yeah,
and I wouldn't trade it. Like, it makes me feel good that after all this time, they finally, I guess, understand me or get me or whatever. And I wouldn't have been able to do that had you and I not gotten together and gone through
everything,
all of it,
everything.
Like,
because it hasn't been easy. And
we've made friends, we've lost friends, we've buried friends, like, buried family. Like, it
has not been easy. And maybe that is because we started the way we did and we had to navigate.
Luckily, neither of us have cheated on the other one.
Correct.
Which is a miracle in and of itself, especially given the situation that we got together.
Yeah, because Birthgiver did like to turn that knife a little bit.
Well, if he did it with you, he'll do it to you.
Yeah.
That type of shit.
Once a cheater, always a cheater. And for some people, that may be true. Luckily.
And for me, it was true. You were the first woman that I have gone this long without sticking my dick in somebody else. I'm just being fucking honest.
Yeah, I know.
And it's not necessarily something that I'm proud of. I mean, I'm proud that I haven't cheated on you, but
no,
previously, like, I'm not proud of it because it just fucked up so many people in the process. The people that I was cheating with, the people that I was cheating on, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't right. And that's why I've tried to instill in Chris, if you're not happy, go somewhere. Don't fucking do the same shit that I did. Because the way that I handled it was fucked.
Yeah.
And you see what it did to your mom. And if you knew the other ones, you'd see what it did to them as well.
Yeah.
So it's not right. And I know it's not right. But I know that at almost 40, not in my fucking early to mid 20s.
Yeah.
I mean, I went from being a teenager to being a parent.
That's fair.
And I went batshit crazy after that.
The hell you say?
Like, I already had a drinking problem before Chris was fucking born. Yeah. Which is insane to say.
At 19.
It was before that.
Well, I mean, when you met her. Or when you met Mandy and...
Oh, I was already well into it by that point.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You were...
So I was probably 15, 16. Because it was like freshman, sophomore year that I really started, like, I was going to school fucked up, like, passing out in class type shit.
Yeah.
I remember there was, I think it was either sophomore or junior year. Well, let me rephrase that. It was either my second or third year of high school. It's a whole nother thing. And we were taking whatever, I think it was TOS at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And my homeboy had a fucking hydrocodone. He was like, "You want one?" I was like, "Yep." Popped it. Got through the first half of the test, the multiple choice shit. Got to the essay, wrote 2 lines, and then all I remember is my head constantly going like that and hitting the fucking desk. Nobody said anything. I didn't go to the principal's office. Nothing.
Yeah.
I should have.
Maybe.
But here the fuck I am. Anyway, I don't know why.
But I think all of these things...
That said, I was a fucking animal whenever I was younger. And I went from that to being a parent. And then I went insane.
Yeah.
Coincidentally, I stopped doing cocaine whenever Chris... Well, it was before Chris was born. It was whenever me and Mandy got together. So I stopped doing that.
That's a good thing.
And then I became more mentally unstable. Go fucking figure that shit. Anyway.
Well, yeah.
That's always fascinated me, that I got off of cocaine and became less reliable.
Damn.
That doesn't happen to many people.
That's fair. But I think all of the insight is... It's not an excuse for our actions or our paths, but I think it provides understanding.
And I think that's why we're so understanding now, is because we didn't have rosy lives or any shit like that. Our story is not the thing of romance novels. It's the exact opposite. So we don't really, I mean, there's been certain times where we're like, that's fucking dumb. But do we actually judge people, though? It's like there's
No.
certain times that we've cut people off because we had to.
Yeah, that was for
whatever reason.
Personal, not safety. Not
it's
physical
mental safety.
Yeah.
It's that mental, emotional safety because
Yeah.
you're around certain people and they just drain you.
Agreed.
However the fuck that is.
Yeah.
And we didn't want to be around that. I don't think that's the same thing. But that's not judging. Yeah. It's just like, I can't fuck with that right now.
Yeah, and I've had people tell me, you're like the most non-judgmental person. I feel like
I've had people tell me that too, because I really don't care. I don't care about your past. I don't care about your history. As long as you're treating me right, I give two fucks about what the next person has to say about you.
Yeah, if you're keeping your words to me and communicating with me and you haven't fucked me over, then...
Or haven't done shady shit around me or whatever the situation is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think all of these kind of showcase why we made the decisions that we made. Just because of how we were raised and what we've done. And I think that while we do have understanding that not everyone's going to get it, and I guess
it's
they don't have to.
It's not for everybody to get. It's like, it's the whole not my circus, not my monkeys thing.
Yeah, pretty
much.
Like,
you don't have to understand it. Just know that we're happy and that's all that matters to us at this point.
Yeah. And we aren't the people we were before, and we can grow and we can change.
It's been a fucking long road.
Yeah, and I mean the royal we. I think everyone's capable of change.
I just meant us specifically. Is like, yes, we were able to change, but unfortunately, that's not the situation with some people. Some people, they can't for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate, but the reason that I have faith that people can change is because I know nobody had faith in me changing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like everybody was just like, he's just going to be like this for fucking ever. Or get worse. It was never, he's going to get better. Just put it that way. You know, that like there were certain people that had hope, like my tias, I'm sure, grandma, obviously, but
yeah,
nobody saw me doing anything in my life productive. If I was taking a bet, like they wanted it to happen, but I don't think anybody saw it happening. And that's no fault of theirs. I'm just saying that's how fucked up I was.
But going into our relationship, I think, because you and I have talked, like if you and I don't work out, I don't want another relationship. Mm-hmm. I don't, because this is a lot of work.
I probably won't even get hookers at this point. Like, I just don't care. Like, I'm just going to be a fucking monk and meditate and jerk off. I wish I was joking. Like, that's the point that I've come to in my life.
Come to? Really?
Fuck it. Yeah.
You stand by it?
Yeah. It's just, it is what it is. It's like I've tried other shit. I've tried everything else. And if this doesn't work, I will have no faith in relationships.
That's fair.
Yeah. And I know there's fucking 700 whatever, or
billion.
7 billion people, whatever the fuck. Yeah. I don't care. Yeah, no. I've dealt with too many of them already, and that's a small fraction of how many people are on the planet. I don't want to deal with more.
Agreed.
Especially romantically.
And I know people might listen to this and be like, is this a good conversation or a bad conversation? Because
this is our conversations in general.
Yeah.
Like, people could hear it and they were like, do they fucking even like each other? Like, you don't get our dynamic.
Yeah, no.
It's like, it sounds like a hate crime sometimes.
But it's the fact that we're
just so frank and honest with each other that we don't give a fuck anymore. How it sounds. I still feel bad for saying certain things.
That's fair.
But it's just because I don't give a shit. It's like, I feel comfortable enough to just say whatever pops into my head.
Well, that, and
I have to do damage control after sometimes and be like, well, maybe I shouldn't have brought up that chick's tits that I saw on Instagram. I had that thought yesterday whenever I showed it to you. I was like, why? Why did I do that?
Hey, everyone loves tits.
I'm not arguing that, but it's just like, that's probably not something you should do with your wife.
Fair. But I think that us having the ability to say and for the other one to know that there's no malice behind us saying this shit is fucking hard. I think that ability in and of itself saves so much, because we both know that I'm going to have days where I'm not the easiest person to be in a relationship with. And I know that some days that you are not going to be the easiest person to be in a relationship. Whatever.
I'm a joy.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a ray of fucking sunshine.
I'm sure you are somewhere.
Mr. Sunshine out of my fucking ass, John Denver.
But I think that ability in and of itself to just say, look, relationships are hard, marriages are hard. This is actual work. Just because we're not building houses and doing extraneous physical tasks doesn't mean that emotionally and mentally that those same things aren't as taxing.
But see, we're honest about it. Other people are. It's like, no, everything's just sunshine and fucking rainbows. It's like, I don't trust you. I do not trust you. I don't trust anybody that paints that picture. Period.
Yeah, if you can't tell me...
If you don't tell me your struggle, I think you're lying. Period.
If
because there's nobody that doesn't struggle.
If you don't have at least one story about your spouse that makes you want to roll your eyes and thump him in the forehead, I don't trust you. I'm sorry. Because I'm pretty sure you have stories where you'll retell them and just...
No.
Liar.
No, I just adore you and I have nothing but love and respect for you. Why would I do that?
Uh-huh. Sure. Because if I'm being honest, I got some of those stories about you, sir.
Yeah, because I'm an asshole. Like, I don't know what you want me to tell you. I can be a ray of sunshine and a pain in the ass at the same time.
That's fair.
You get cancer from the sun. I'm just saying.
Oh my God. Don't say it that way.
You can.
This is fair. Melanoma is a thing. Just saying.
I wasn't wishing it on anybody. I was just saying it's a possibility. Like something great that you need can fuck you up.
That's fair. That's fair. But with all of that hard work and all of the struggles, and it is worth it. And it is worth...
It can be.
Yes.
It's not always worth it.
Okay. Well, in our situation.
Because we have been in relationships where it wasn't worth it, but we kept putting in the effort for whatever reason. While also doing stupid shit ourselves.
So many people were not worth my time. And I know that sounds like I'm tooting my own horn or anything, but I really shouldn't have spent.
Some people aren't meant for you. That's just what the fuck it boils down to.
Some are meant for federal prison. With us being the individuals that we are and having the pasts that we have had, you and I ended up very different people in the way we handle conflict and the way we handle life in general. I'm very much the dog that cowers and just tries to make everything okay. You are definitely the dog that barks back and bares their teeth.
I don't just bark back.
But you know what I mean. In the comparison,
I'll go for the fucking jugular whenever I have to.
That's fair.
My bark is not the scary part of me. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
I'm aware of that, and I'm not thrilled with that either. But it's weird because, like in the post, I was talking about, oh, suck it up, don't be a pussy. Like, you know, that's the type of shit that men like me get.
Yep.
But I also have the other side that is the exact opposite. And it's not the emotion. I mean, it is emotional because it's pure unbridled rage.
Yeah.
That will set fire to the entire world.
Yeah.
If given the opportunity.
Yeah.
So I don't really understand that about myself.
That's fair.
I guess you just get beat so much that you stop feeling sorry for yourself and you're like, I'm going to take this out on everybody else.
Yeah, I guess I think that might, well, I can't even say that that's a female over male thing where men or males have more of that fight back. Because I've met plenty of women who,
Not the same way though. Like vindictive is one thing, but I'm talking about blinding, vicious violence.
that's fair.
There's very few women like that. Luckily,
Yeah.
because if
I popped out over her. The joys of being alive.
I didn't ask to come in this motherfucker.
I didn't. I didn't. But, you know, she chose to have me. Anyway, so I think that might be the hardest part of any relationship because it's the joining of two people, two individuals who had who have had thus far.
And the crazy thing is, like, our stories are very, very similar.
To a point, yeah.
But we ended up two completely different fucking people. I mean, relatively speaking.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of similarities between us.
Because
I
mean, but like I was saying, in relationship, it's two separate people coming together and trying to coexist and learn other people's shit. So not only are you having your human experience, you're having to learn someone else's human experience and navigate
their triggers,
cohesively.
their likes, their dislikes,
Yeah.
like everything.
And I think that if people could focus on that alone and just the understanding part of, hey, that person's having a human experience, I'm having a human experience.
That's what I was talking about last time.
Yeah.
It's like, we need to appreciate that about each other. It's like,
because I think
everybody's going through it somehow,
Yeah.
unless they're pretending like they're not.
which I
Some
did.
of them are blissfully fucking ignorant. But see, you weren't blissfully ignorant.
No,
you were
I was just
the
very
exact
much,
opposite
"No,
of
this is fine."
whatever the fuck blissfully ignorant is. You were the opposite of that. You were depressed. Fuck this shit.
ignorant.
But not ignorant, because you were aware that it was shit. You were just trying to convince yourself that
Everything's
it's okay.
fine.
And that's not, I don't think that's the same thing. Because you were
fair.
cognitively aware of it. You knew the shit wasn't right, but you just kept trying to convince yourself that it was
Everything was
okay.
fine. I can fix this. That was my whole purpose. I've been a fixer. And I still struggle
How'd
with
that
it.
work out with you?
I still struggle with it, and you know that.
The hell you say?
But I think once that is learned and understood and accepted, that not everything's going to be good and not everything's going to be, I mean, hell, the vast majority of the time as a married couple with children, not every day is fucking sunshine and rainbows. Most days are not.
Well, I mean,
sunshine and rainbows.
Recently, there's been a lot less of the not.
That's very fair. But if you don't get those things under control, that's when I think, well, I think if you don't have or you lose sight of that understanding, that's when shit gets hairy.
Well, I mean, that's how it was before I realized all my shit. I was completely oblivious to the things the toxic shit that I was doing to you, to the kids, to whoever.
And
you maintain that. Like, you...
I don't know. I didn't know how to speak up for myself. And
That's what I'm saying. Like, you not encouraged it. What's the other word?
Enabled
it.
Mm-hmm. We did.
And it's just like, and I'm not blaming that on you, obviously.
Well, of course not. I know
it's
you're
just,
not.
that's just how
it is what it is.
was
yeah.
at the time. And then,
I mean, hell, I still struggle with saying what I need or being upfront about.
You've gotten a lot better about it.
I
would be completely honest.
I would like to think that I've made progress.
You made a lot of progress
in that arena. I just think that there are still things that I feel I'm not okay saying, and that's just, I eventually say them.
It doesn't take near as long as it used to.
No, I went decades without saying shit. And not with you, I just mean in life.
In general.
So I didn't stop speaking to my mother until I was 35. Decades of bullshit. So I really think that there's no like magical advice for a relationship, but I do think communication and understanding are key. I think that's hands down hands down the single most important relationship
and real
advice.
communication, because we talked all the fucking time and didn't talk about shit.
Yeah, there's listening and there's understanding.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can listen to your words
and hear them
and
but not get it.
And
you don't get it
yeah
until you get it.
Yeah. And I think that everyone slowing down for a second would help out more on that side. Just that, okay, those couple of minutes just to, okay, where's
this coming from? Why am I reacting like this?
Not only
that's for me, at least. It's like I have to stop and be like, okay, why am I having this visceral reaction to this innocuous thing?
Right.
What is causing it?
Yes. I was going from the other side, but it's the same thing. It's, yes, you do need to self-evaluate. Like, why am I reacting this way?
That's the biggest part of mine. It's like, because I can figure out everything else if I have myself under control.
That's
know what
fair.
I mean? Like, I can handle everything else way better if I know why I'm feeling the way that I'm feeling.
That's fair.
And everything just kind of seems to fall in line after that.
That's fair.
For the most part. I'm not saying like your mood changes or whatever the fuck. I can understand where you're coming from as long as I'm able to keep my shit under control.
That's fair. And I guess that would be the better way to do that.
There's no better way.
Well,
it's just
different.
It's the dog analogy.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I'm the one that snaps. You're the one that cowers. I as the dog that snaps have to figure out how to not make you cower.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So
yes.
That means I have to keep my snapping under control.
That's fair.
You know what I mean? Because then you feel more comfortable to be more expressive.
Yeah. And I just realized that what I was going to say is indicative of the cower and bite dog analogy, because I was going to say, well, see it from their side and, you know, kind of understand what, and you do that as well.
I have empathy like a motherfucker, and I'm really good at that part of it, as long as I don't get emotional. Because if I get emotional, then it's all about me. And I lose. I mean, I pretend like I have empathy in those moments, but I really don't.
Do you lose sight of
it's not even losing sight. I just don't give a shit. I'm being honest. You've seen it happen. You've seen where that switch just fucking flips in my head, and I'm just like, fuck this, fuck that, fuck you.
Yeah.
I'm not proud of it, but... And it's been a while since that happened, luckily, but...
Yes. But I do think that... after everything that we've been through, and one thing that, and one area that we still work on all the time is our communication. Because I think
it has to keep changing and evolving, because things are changing and evolving,
and we
all
are
the fuck around us.
Yeah, and we are going to continue to change and evolve. So I think just that willingness to be open and come at things with an open mindset and more, just understanding more than anything. Having understanding for someone else. Because, and the reason I say understanding is instead of like empathy, I mean, it all falls under the same thing, but
you can be empathetic towards somebody without understanding them.
Fair.
You can't understand somebody without having empathy for them.
Fair.
Does that make sense?
Yes. So
that's how I look at it.
I'm still gonna
it's
stay
like the
with
square rectangle thing.
Yeah. So that's why I use the word understanding, because
you can appreciate somebody's situation and what the fuck they're going through empathy, but you don't understand it. You know what I mean?
And I think
like you can feel bad for somebody,
Yeah.
and know that they've had a tough go of it or what the fuck ever. That doesn't mean you understand it. Understanding is putting yourself in that person's shoes.
Yeah.
And the whole walk a mile thing.
Yeah, like how would that affect me? How would I as a person...
Whenever you break down in tears because you think about putting yourself in that perspective,
That's
understanding somebody.
You don't necessarily have to, like...
Because you're taking your life and putting yourself in that situation, and how would I react to that? And it breaks you down. That's understanding the shit.
Right.
I think.
And you don't have to go through the same things everyone else does to understand them.
Mm-mm.
Or at least understand the fact that they have their own shit. Just that little bit of understanding. And I know I've said understanding like 50,000 times, not even 1,000. I understand, but whatever. So I think in order to give us a very solid relationship and very functional relationship, especially, I don't want to say, oh, the next 12 years, because I don't want to say, oh, we're only going to be together for another 12.
See, and you were not like that whenever we first got together. You did not understand why I said shit like that.
Yeah.
It would piss you off, actually, or hurt your feelings, or however you want to put it.
Yeah. And
But now that we've been together so long, you understand why I said that. It's like, I'm not promising forever because I don't know. What I can promise is that I'm going to do all the work that I can in the meantime, whatever that means.
Right. And yes, I understand that.
It was
now.
empty words at one point, but
I think mine more so was the fact that I didn't have a lot of love growing up.
So you hear that and you're automatically like, oh, well, he's got one foot out the fucking door.
Yeah. It was
which wasn't the case. It was never the case.
It very much leans towards my abandonment issues. So, but I think...
And I didn't appreciate that until much later. And that's why I tried to stop saying it, even though I still thought it. Because
I appreciate that.
My mindset about that hasn't changed.
Yeah. But I can understand more so where you were coming from.
Yeah, because it's not if this doesn't work out, fuck it. It's not that whatsoever. That's the last thing I fucking want.
Yeah.
But if it does happen, I know we're going to survive.
Yeah.
We've been through all this other shit. Like, we'll get through whatever we have to get through.
Yeah. And that's why...
And that's the first time I've ever thought that in my life, where it's just like, if something goes awry, it's fine.
Yes.
Because before it was like the end of the world, you know, especially in like teenage relationships and shit like that. It's just like, I'm going to die without this person. It's like, no, the fuck you're not.
You're going to be fine.
You're a stupid fucking kid that doesn't know what love is yet. Just give it a fucking minute.
But I think all of our understanding and listening and actually hearing what the other one has said, that has been the most beneficial. And that, I think, personally, is the greatest act of love. And that's why, because like I've said several times, love is an action. That's an action word. So when I say, hey, be careful, that's
mean it. And see, that's the way I am too. It's like whenever somebody's leaving the house and I'm like, dude, love you, be careful. I mean it every fucking time. I'm not just saying that because it's words.
Yeah.
I've stopped doing that because
everyone forgets.
Yes. So I stopped doing that part. But
same.
Like I do the same thing that grandma used to do. I stand at the door, make sure they're in the car, make sure the car started, all that shit. High sign, they leave.
Yeah.
I still do that to this day.
Yeah.
I do it with the kids. I do it with Mandy and Gabriel. I do it whenever anybody leaves our fucking house, for the most part.
Right.
Unless there's a bunch of shit going on and they're just taking off. Whatever.
Right.
That's a different situation. But regardless, like, it's shit like that shows that you care about somebody, I think.
I agree. And so I think that overall, no matter what we're going through individually, because, you know, I'm still going and trying to...
You're still trying to navigate all of your shit because you've spent so long trying to avoid it.
Yeah. And I think that now...
Or ignore it, or however you want to put that.
Well, a little both.
It's more avoidance, I think, because you're not ignoring it, per se, I don't think, because you're always aware of it.
Yeah. But it is more avoidance. It's
definitely avoidance.
Just because I don't like conflict. I don't like dealing with shit.
You don't like external conflict, much less internal conflict.
And the fucked up thing is that I'm always internally conflicted. So But I think that no matter what we're going through as individuals, I think the way that we've handled our relationship and our growth in our relationship and where our relationship was as to where it is now, I think we've set ourselves up for more success, because we both know and understand that not every day is going to be rosy. Not every day us as individuals are going to be in the best mindsets, or as there might be friction somewhere else in our lives with each other, with shit that's going on with the kids or whatever have you.
That just change in general. That's not even like negative. It's just change shit. So it creates that friction.
But I think that with the way that we are now, it gives our relationship and us as individuals permission to grow, regardless of what that means, because we have a relationship where I could come to you or you can come to me and say, hey, look, this is how I'm feeling about this. This is something I need. This is something I want.
And that's what I've told you for a long time. And that goes back to the other point. It's just like, if you wake up tomorrow and decide that you don't want to do this anymore, it's going to hurt. I'm going to be crushed, but okay. Because I just want you to be fucking happy.
Yeah.
And people don't want to have those uncomfortable conversations. And I think that's why a lot of relationships end up failing out of the blue. And I say it like that because you're not paying attention to your partner then. You know what I mean? It's like there has to be signs. It doesn't just on off. And people say that it happens like that all the time, but it's not true. Well, I'm not talking about dating somebody. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about being in a long-term relationship. If you're blindsided by something, you were not paying attention to your partner.
You're either not paying attention,
or they're a fucking sociopath. Like, those are the options.
There's a lack of communication somewhere.
Regardless. And I've never been the one to shy away from an uncomfortable conversation. Right. I steer into those motherfuckers because, to me, that's where you learn who a person really is. Whenever you catch them off guard, they are not prepared for it, and you throw an uncomfortable situation at them and see how they react.
Yeah.
That truly tests the mettle of a man, I think.
That's fair. But the vast majority of my life, one, I didn't have the balls to say anything.
Two, you didn't have somebody like me that not likes it, but wants that deeper conversation, the uncomfortable conversation.
Yeah, but I was also met with a lot of situations with fear. So it's just...
Because inevitably, whenever I have those uncomfortable conversations, that's when I figure myself out more. And that's why I've always liked them. Because somebody forced me to think about something that I didn't want to think about, or had been ignoring, or just didn't even consider.
Yeah.
And it changes the way I think.
And unfortunately, just as a person, as a human being, if you hear it once, that doesn't mean that it's going to change right away, or that it's actually going to click with you. In general, I mean, we see it as we parent our children. We can say things over and over again, and you've had to deal with that with me. You tell me certain things over and again.
Motherfucker, I just told you that shit. Why the fuck do you listen to Gabby and not me, motherfucker? I do believe I've said that exact thing.
I think so. Maybe. But it's...
But that's also necessary. You also need those supportive people around you that are going to be doing and saying the same things to the people that you love, because they're not always going to hear it from you.
And I don't remember what I was listening to recently, and it was more of the parental child dynamic of...
I showed you that one where it was talking about that you need to have other adults in that child's life that aren't related to them, so they can hear the exact same thing, and they're actually more receptive to it.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it was, or what... I don't remember the rest of the story, but I think that is across the board. I don't think that's just a parental child
and that's
dynamic,
what I was talking about. Like, that's why I like that you have Gabby in your life, because her mindset about you is the exact same as me. A little bit different.
I don't know.
Well.
Hey, Gabby.
But ultimately, she loves and appreciates you the same way that I do. So
Right.
she tells you the exact same things that I do.
And it's so funny because you guys
We don't talk that
won't-
much.
Yeah, you guys will communicate with
Yeah.
each other. You guys have texted and things like that. But like, I'll be going through the same thing and you'll tell me something. And I'm like, okay.
And then you're
I'll
talking
make
to
note of
Gabby
that.
about it 5 minutes later. And then
then
she
she'll
ends
say
up saying the
fucking
exact same
And it's
thing.
like, I think it's not that I don't believe you or that I don't listen to you. It's just like, okay, you're the
I
first.
say all shit all the time.
Well, that and you're the first one to say it. You're my husband. I see you all the time. You're going to see, you know me better than anyone. You're going to see those things that it's like, well, maybe we should do this, or maybe you should stop thinking that way, or maybe this is another way to think of that, or whatever the case is. So it's already noted where it's like, okay, well, maybe, I don't know. I guess. So that's,
You hate it when I'm right, too.
and it's all that inner monologue where it's just like, oh, okay, I hear what you say. I've accepted what you are telling me. I'll work on it. Maybe, kind of thing. And it's like, the more people tell me, it's like, oh, that's an issue.
God damn it, he's right.
Fuck. Yeah. And it's not personal because I know that you've taken it personal.
I used to take it personal. I don't take it personal anymore.
And it's very much not like that. It's just very much, maybe it was just because you were the first person to tell me instead of like the third or fourth.
You did not used to like me being right.
I hated you being right.
Because, not to toot my own horn, but because I was right so often about shit. And it would get vexing. And I was insufferable at times whenever it came down to it. I am well aware of that. I am not putting it all on you.
Okay, that's fair.
And I would like to think I've gotten out of that, where I'm not as insufferable about it.
Yes.
Where I'm just like, okay,
see,
you get it now. Like, do you understand why I was saying that?
But by and large, if I'm being honest about those situations, it wasn't necessarily that you were right.
Some of it was.
Not necessarily, no. It's just very much of the fact that there was just another thing I was wrong about. There was another thing I was not good at.
I'm not the one that will hang it over your head like that. Not anymore, at least.
Fair.
I point those things out as like, look, like you, basically what we do with the kids. And again, I'm not comparing you to the kids, but it's, you see, I do know what I'm talking about. Like, let me help through this. You don't have to do this on your own.
That's fair.
Why would you choose to do it whenever somebody is telling you that they will help you through it?
You know the answer to that question.
I know, but that's why I keep reiterating it. Just like, you don't have to keep doing this by yourself. For like 12 years, my fucking credit is good in this situation.
Very fair.
Only this situation. But
you're like my actual credit score.
That's a different fucking that's like 20s me.
That's fair.
Not
it hasn't caught
not
up to
30s,
2023.
almost 40s me. Yeah. But it's just, I want to help. I've always wanted to help people, and you're one of the few people, well, not one of the few people, you know what I mean. Like, I care about you. I want only the best for you.
Yeah. And
I know that sounds whatever, but like, I do know what I'm talking about most of the time. And the same goes in reverse. I have to listen to you sometimes, where it's just like, oh, okay, maybe I shouldn't be a dick right now.
Yeah, because and the fucked up thing is that obviously our brains go towards the negative way easier than it does anything positive. And that's just scientific fact. That's just how our brains work.
It's more potent in the brain.
Unfortunately, the whole fight or flight thing, it's instinctual.
I do fucking detest that.
I do too. Because I've been stuck in fight or flight for 30 some odd years. So, yay.
I didn't know flight was an option for a very long time, so
I was built to be a runner.
I was either fighting or fucking, and that was it.
I was built to be a fucking flight risk. That was what my training was growing up. I'm just going to call it training. Life training. I got life training from a bad person at life. I don't... I just really think that overall, I think even though it started so rough and we had big chunks of time where we just didn't get each other, we got each other.
We got each other to a point, but we didn't understand the deeper shit about
And
each
that,
other.
and that's, I didn't want to talk. You were abrasive in your approach. It was just
That is the nicest way you have ever said that. I usually just say I was a dick.
You say that. I usually don't say that. But that's just me. See? Just everything's fine. Regardless of what we've been through in our relationship, what we've gone through individually, like hell, fucking COVID and quarantine almost took our marriage out.
But that's because we had to actually confront the shit that we were ignoring because we were in close quarters for that long, just us.
Yeah.
Like,
no
we always had
separation,
that buffer where either you live somewhere else or I live somewhere else, or there was jobs or whatever the fuck, and then we were just apart. In the fucking house together 24/7
I couldn't go couldn't.
It was a motherfucker.
I risked life and limb going to the grocery store every single time.
And the one time I went, I was like, I can't do this. I'm getting too much anxiety.
Yeah. But it's very much work. And like I was saying earlier, I just think that the way that we've decided to approach our marriage now is only set us up for success. And if I could tell or share that with anyone, that a piece of information, it would be that. Just talk.
Have the uncomfortable conversations.
And not
if you're
with
afraid
anger.
Of having the conversation, just have it. But be able to remove yourself emotionally from it. Because you might not like the answer.
Yeah.
Especially if it's an uncomfortable conversation.
Like recently, we had I said I felt a certain way, and it ended up being, I don't remember when this was. About a month ago, month and a half, whenever it was. I don't remember when it was.
I don't even remember what you're talking about.
But the situation, and I don't honestly remember exactly what happened now that I'm talking about it, but it was, I felt a certain way. I didn't say something immediately. I think it was like the next day. And in that moment, you took it more of as like a personal attack. Like my feelings were a personal attack to you or on you. And it wasn't that. So I do agree with being able to remove yourself emotionally is also a big thing for communication, just because there are a lot of people like me who don't say things out of fear, not necessarily because of the partner they're with, but trauma. And there's times where it is the partner that they're with, but putting those defensive walls up and making it a fight, like a combative thing. And you didn't in that moment or in that situation.
I was trying not to.
Yeah. It wasn't.
I do remember what you were talking about, but I don't remember the situation.
I don't either. But just life is hard in general. Being alive is hard. Being a human is hard. Choosing to be in a relationship with somebody and eventually marrying them and having kids with them and building these lives with other people, especially when you did not, like me, like I didn't grow up with that. I grew up with chaos and fear and anger, which
I
caused
at least
the
got
fear.
both sides of the spectrum.
Like I was saying, it's just hard being a human. So I do thank you for trying to combat those angry, defensive times.
My natural inclination.
Because it does make sharing a little bit easier. Even in this moment, I'm kind of anxious, and you know how I am. That's why I have tears in my eyes, because I'm a crier, which I fucking hate.
I was gonna say, you're like, oh shit, you made it through the whole episode without crying, and then right at the tail end.
Boom. Had to throw some in, you know.
And I'm not making fun of it whatsoever, just for the record.
Oh, I know. But being able to say something and not be scared, I'm still working on. And that's not because of you.
That's not just because of me.
Well, it's not anything you're actively doing. But if you choose to be in a relationship with somebody, and this is for anyone who's listening or watching,
all their bullshit,
all of it, not and without judgment,
stuff,
and without
not just the bad stuff either,
Yeah.
because you can't focus on either one too long. You have to take that person
all of it
for everything that they are, good, bad, and indifferent.
And life is cyclical. Everything's gonna go.
There's going to be
ebbs,
good times.
flows.
There's going to be bad times. I need somebody that I could sit with whenever nothing's fucking happening.
Yeah, and you are very much that. And I know that in the
because
past,
I can be with people whenever shit's bad. I can be with people whenever shit's good. It's easy to be with people whenever shit's good.
Oh yeah.
But whenever nothing's going on and we have the house to ourselves, I want to know that I can be with you in that situation and not be like, I should be doing something else. Friday, perfect fucking example.
Friday was fun.
Kids are at school.
Friday was so fun.
I took the day off so I could spend the day with you because our anniversary was Saturday.
Yeah.
We did nothing. Fucking nothing. And we just laid there in the bed doing nothing.
Yeah.
Well. And then some nothing.
And
But
then some nothing.
Regardless, it's like we can have those moments. We can have those quiet moments where we're not doing anything. We don't feel disconnected and all of that shit. It's just, it can just be quiet. It can be nothing. Not chaos, not fucking happiness.
Just
content.
being.
Content.
Just being.
And that to me says a lot.
I agree.
That we can both just be content now and not have to have one or the other.
Yeah.
We can just be here.
Yeah. That and just accepting that you're going to change as people. And
a lot of people can't deal with that.
Yeah. And that's...
Well, you're not the person I fell in love with.
hell...
You're not supposed to be the person I fell in love with 12 fucking years ago. You know what I mean?
You were 12 years younger.
Exactly.
Yeah,
like there was different shit going on. There was
different.
Like it's okay to be different.
Yeah.
It's just you have to constantly keep falling in love with that person. And if they're not giving you a reason to do that, that tells you what you need to know, because then that means they're growing apart from you.
Yeah.
And that's fine, but you have to be able to accept that.
Yeah. And I think that also that skill comes from being open and honest and understanding and not defensive and things like that when it comes to your partner talking to you, or you going to your partner and talking to them about whatever needs to be talked about. Because if you don't allow that room to grow and change, that's
you're gonna
that's
stagnate.
Like marrying somebody for looks only.
Not gonna start on that shit.
If you don't allow your partner to change, then it's going to fail. Because I'm sorry, I'm not calling myself a chud by any means, but I
definitely don't think you're a chud.
Like when you and I got together, I was not what I weigh now. My body looked very different. I was many, many lbs smaller, you know.
Well, so was I, in all fairness.
Fair.
I mean, I went up and down several times in the course of my life,
but ultimately, if you had married me because I was skinny or because I had a pretty face and I didn't have wrinkles, well, I still don't have a lot of wrinkles, but you know, if you were to be my husband based on things that can change and will change.
There's an inevitability. Like, we're all going to get old. It's just, how do you deal with it? Do you embrace the gray and the wrinkles and all that shit?
Yeah.
Or do you get Botox? Either way, your face is fucking changing.
Right.
And I don't want the latter whatsoever.
And
I don't like that idea.
But
I want to embrace getting old. I don't want to be one of those people that has to hold on to youth and all that shit. That's
fair.
why whenever it came time, I just shaved my fucking head. I know I could probably get away with a little bit of it right now. I don't want to.
I actually like you.
I've never dyed my beard. Well, as an adult, I've never dyed my beard.
After it started
graying. Yeah, like I don't care. I want to get old. I want to enjoy getting old. I don't want to see it as a drawback because this has the potential to be the best years of our lives.
I think,
and
personally,
me wanting something else is not going to accomplish that. It's going to make me live in the past or want something else, and I don't want to do that. I want to look forward to the future with you, not what we were.
Honestly, I really do think that our 40s and 50s are going to be
dope as fuck.
They're going to be making up for our childhood. To be perfectly honest, that's how I feel.
I don't doubt it. And I've been having that same fucking feeling, and we've been talking about it. It's like, I'm looking forward to growing old. I'm looking forward to what's coming next, whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah.
Because I got no fucking idea. I got some inclinations and whatnot, but I don't know what's coming.
Yeah. And no one does.
I'm here to enjoy the ride with you. That's it. That's all I can do.
Yeah.
I can't control anything. And the fact that I've let go of control is amazing in and of itself.
Yeah.
Because I'm a control freak. Everybody knows
what?
That. Shut the fuck
you?
up.
Never.
But it's just, I'm trying to enjoy the ride now. And for so long, I didn't. I thought everything had to be a certain way. I thought there had to be certain markers and milestones and all this and all that. And I don't give a fuck now.
I was the same way, except it's more, I had to be a certain way. I had to make things easy.
It's all part and parcel.
I had to make things... I had to be convenient for people. And that's not a way to live.
I mean, there's certain times where you need to chill the fuck out, but...
But by and large, I think that I should not have been the one to be a convenience. In a lot of instances.
Well, I mean, now we get to be our most authentic selves just because we've reached that age and we don't care anymore. It's like, no, fuck that. I've tried to make myself small. I've tried to make myself palatable. Where the fuck did it get me? Nowhere. It didn't help me excel in my job. It didn't do any of that shit. It made it worse because I just kept going against myself.
Right.
And what I wanted.
That, and now I think that we are both confident in our relationship to just be ourselves authentically and know that we'll be accepted and loved from the person.
Because we don't judge each other.
Yeah.
It's like, I know you've got a past, lengthy past.
Hey, fuck you.
And I kind of have a little bit of a past too.
Oh, a little bit. Lying ass.
Meh.
Sir. You act like I don't fucking know you. No? We've only been together.
Robert's not even my real name.
I've seen your diploma. I think I've seen your birth certificate. No.
I started faking it before that, dude. Come on.
You know goddamn well you didn't.
This is a long con. I'm a fucking sociopath.
Considering I've met your family and they're not in...
Oh, they're all plants.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry about that.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I hired them a long time ago.
Oh, with your wealth.
Yeah. That.
And what, you're a trust fund baby? And yeah.
Not even Mexican. I just got a good tan. And I'm not actually bald. I choose to do this to keep up the charade.
Charade. Not the charade. You're a fucking mess.
You married me.
I did. So, now that we've been talking nonsense for...
Shenanigans.
See? That's why I always say shenanigans, because I don't know
Hey,
where...
Farvo. What was that place with all the weird shit on the walls?
Ooh. So after 12 years of being with me, 10 years married next month, is there anything you want to say? Is there anything you want to...
I try to tell you it all the time. You know, like I try to be appreciative and tell you how much I love you and how much I appreciate you on maybe not a daily basis, but on a fairly regular basis. I don't wait for special occasions.
Right.
I don't even like the special occasions all that much.
Correct.
And it's not, oh fuck that, it's just another day. It's not that. It's I don't need an excuse to tell my wife how much I love her.
Fair.
To how much I appreciate her, that I wouldn't be the man that I am today without her. I try to tell you that regularly.
Yeah.
So realistically, I don't have anything to say because I don't feel guilty enough not doing it. Does that make sense? Because I do it so often.
Oh.
So I don't have that guilt built into
yes,
me. Where
because it's already been said. It's not like you wait to for Valentine's Day every year to tell me.
I fucking hate Valentine's Day.
Same.
I've never liked Valentine's Day.
Same. Fucking same. It is gross. But I do appreciate that you don't wait.
And I wasn't the best about that, admittedly. But I didn't know how to be affectionate. You know, like my affection was
Very
like
fair.
grabbing somebody by the tits and be like, hey, what's up? You want to fuck? Like,
It was very frat boy affection.
it was. And
And you weren't a frat boy.
how did I used to put it? It was
like a dude bro.
It's like dude bro mentality,
There
even
you
though I
go.
wasn't a dude bro per
Yeah,
se.
it's just
the
very
weirdest
weird.
fucking thing.
I think it's younger mentality of affection. I guess. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm not like that anymore.
Same.
I know you probably miss it, but
I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not even gonna like play the game of being coy and oh no, it was grand.
but I
No.
try to be sweet and affectionate now.
Yes.
I try to express all of that to you on a regular basis.
Yes.
So
Yes.
and it's just because I don't want to have any regrets. I don't want to be on my deathbed just like, oh, I should have told her I loved her more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or, God forbid, the opposite, and I feel like I didn't make you feel loved. You know, and
Yeah.
I don't want that. I've felt that so many times in losing people and not getting to say goodbye or whatever the situation is. And the
Life's too
last person I would want that to happen with is you. So I try to tell you all the time. Just so, God forbid, some freak accident happens, you're not wondering. And it's the same thing with the kids that I've told you. It's like, I always make sure to tell them how much I love and appreciate them.
Right.
Because I don't know what's going to happen. And I'm fine with it. But y'all motherfuckers are going to have to deal with me being overly emotional and talking about how much I care about you guys. And I don't give a shit how that makes you feel, Gabriel. I'm just saying. And he's gotten used to it now. He doesn't give me as much shit. So
You called him OUT out.
he knows exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. Because it used to bother him. And now he's just like, I get it. You know, and he still says the same, you don't have to say shit like that. Like, I'm going to.
Shut the fuck up.
It's my feelings.
It's my mouth. It's my feelings. It's my words.
Don't say my mouth. Don't. We send each other way too much questionable shit for you to say it like that. But I mean,
I stand by it.
It's just, I love you. Like, I'm glad that everything worked out the way it did. It could have been a little less bumpy, but who knows if we'd be here right now. You know? And ultimately, I'm glad everything worked out the way it did.
That's fair. I mean, I know that a lot of unnecessary shit happened. And it is what it is. Like, we can only move forward. We can't.
If we didn't separate then because of it, it's
It's kind of pointless.
It's got to be water under the bridge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's just, it's what it is.
I agree.
Because
and
we don't hold anything against each other anymore either. And that was a big thing too.
Right.
Because we used to hang on to shit. Well, you did this and well, you did this and oh, don't even. You were just as guilty of it, but you would act like you weren't. because I would actually verbalize it. You would just hold it all in until it came out fucking one day whenever everything went sideways.
Fair. That's fair. That's
Not
very
that either
fair.
is better, but
I know. I'm just giving you shit. But I do appreciate the fact that you've changed immensely. Not only for your relationship with yourself and for the kids, but with me. I know that the kids have always been, and you told me something about our relationship a long time ago because I dove headfirst into being a mom. And that was just, everything had to be about me being a mom. One, because I felt like I had to prove that I wasn't my own mother, which was important to me.
And also prove that you were worthy. Not to me, obviously, but
I also had to prove people wrong in the fact that they thought I was not able to be a mom.
I always had faith in you with that regard.
So, sorry. So I did dive in, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna be a mom, motherfuckers. Like, and I remember I think this is when we lived out in Seagoville, maybe shortly after we moved here, maybe? I don't remember. But it was very much, hey, when the kids are gone, what the fuck is our relationship gonna look like? I know those weren't the exact words you used.
It might have been.
Maybe.
That sounds like me.
But you've done so much work to...
Because I've had that stuck in my head ever since then, too. It just...
Yeah.
Am I going to be with somebody that I fucking hate and I can't wait to get away from whenever my kids are gone?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and you see so many people do that. They stay together just so the kids get through high school.
And then
they go live their own lives and shit. It's like, no, I'm trying to build a life with you. Why would I want to get away from you at that point?
Right.
And if that's the impetus, we just aren't going to be together.
Right. I would rather that than for us to both just be unhappy.
Up this fucking charade.
Again, with the charade. It's a charade.
You made such a big deal about it the first time. I had to do it again.
Not the charade. But I do appreciate who you are and what you've done to become who you are, because I don't know if I could spend another 12 years in fear. And, because it is taxing to be scared all the time. Mm-hmm. And again, that did not start with you. For anyone who's listening, he is not the cause of my trauma.
Not all of it.
But at the end of the day, you've done so much to create an environment for me to feel comfortable. While, calling me on my bullshit, rightfully so.
I don't have it in me to not call somebody on their bullshit, and that's why a lot of people don't like me.
Fair.
Because I call it like I see it, even if my perception is skewed or whatever the fuck. I still say it how I see it, and that's rubbed a lot of people the wrong way.
That's fair.
That's rubbed just about everybody I've known the wrong way at some point. You've gotten used to it because you didn't have a choice.
I am married to you. This is true.
Because I've tried to curtail it.
Yes.
And make it a little bit more palatable, at least for you.
Yes.
But I still do it. Admittedly, I've never stopped. I'm never going to stop.
That's fair. But
I want people to do the same thing to me, too. I'm not that naive to think, oh, no, I got all this under control. Like, no, call me on my bullshit, please. Like,
that's fair. But I do...
What the fuck?
I've never been able to openly communicate. Hold on. What are you doing?
Her tail popped up on my side. I was just like, what the fuck is it? Oh.
She's putting her head in my lap.
She wants to go outside.
I know she does.
Well, we'll wrap this up.
growing up, and I never felt like it was okay for me to say how I was actually feeling. And I struggle with that today as a 37-year-old woman. All of the work that you've done makes it a little bit easier to at least try and break those.
No, because if that motherfucker can do it.
Well, no, if it's more so.
Just trying to be funny.
Oh, well.
You failed.
Miserably. And that's exactly what just ran through my head. So the amount of appreciation I have for that, knowing that I don't have to spend
the rest of your life,
the rest of my life in fear of, and knowing that it's okay to just say how I'm feeling and know that someone is going to love me after the conversation is done and not be mad at me.
No matter what the conversation is.
And not be mad at me and not make me feel bad for feeling my feelings. And not telling me that I'm wrong or that it wasn't that bad or gaslighting me in that kind of way, because that has happened to me a lot. And
there are times where we need to adjust our perceptions of shit, but whenever it comes to shit that you've been through, like, you have to be allowed to feel it how you want to feel it and work through it.
And
not
about
just
it.
Sit in it,
Yeah.
obviously, but like
Talk
be
about
able
it.
to work through it.
Right. So with all of that, after 12 years, I can finally say I am sort of not scared to talk about my feelings. And that's
Sort of not scared is a vast improvement from where you were.
Because it was, I'm terrified and I'm not going to say anything because everything's fine. And if everything's fine, I have nothing to talk about. And so I do appreciate that greatly, because I don't feel like I'm choking on my words anymore.
And that was a big problem for you.
Yeah, I feel... I know this is going to probably sound weird, but it used to feel like there was something here. Not like a choke or anything like that, but like there was pressure.
Well, I mean, like if you go the energetic route and all that stuff, it's like your throat chakra gets bogged down because you're not speaking your truth.
And
whatever that may be, or you're holding back, or you're not being as expressive as you should be,
right?
Or whatever.
And
so,
I
do think there's truth to that.
Yeah, I do too. Just because
me never had that problem because I don't shut the fuck up.
So
Wait a second.
I do appreciate that, because I'm tired of being scared. And I know that no matter what I do going forward, I don't even know if
I don't know if the mics picked that up, but both of us were able to hear it.
But I know that going forward, I don't have to. I can only improve on this. I can only feel more comfortable, because I know that at least this base level of me being able to kind of talk about it is my base level. I will not.
It's not that you can't regress; it's that you don't want yourself to regress at this point.
Correct.
And that was not always the case.
No. Not at all. But I love you so much. And I know that we have hopefully so many more than 12 years going forward. And I know that especially in the past, since, the beginning of August has been really rough for me. And I know I don't have to thank you for allowing me the space to grow and change and learn about myself and do all that
You
stuff.
actually believe me now whenever I say I got you.
Yeah, I do.
Because
August.
And I meant it before that, but it's just, you saw it in practice.
Well, that, and I battle with abandonment in general. So the fact that I can look at you in the face, and I'll even put my glasses on so I can see you clearly. I don't think you're going anywhere.
I'm not.
I don't think you're going to just up and leave. I don't think that you're going to get tired of my shit. I don't think that you just tolerate me. I don't think that that you're just going to leave me. I do actually believe that you do want to stay here and be with me and work on our relationship and be in our life together with me. And that's not something I have always actually believed. And I don't think I ever said it out loud. So
Well, you didn't say it out loud in so many words, but it was blatantly obvious that that's what you were scared of.
Yeah. And the fact that I've never even said that, oh, yeah, I fully believe that you're not going to leave me. That
You've never said out loud.
Yeah. I think this is the first time I've ever said it, and it's documented, so play it on repeat.
Play it back. I will play it back.
But thank you.
Clip it out and send it to you. Be like, you said.
You said November 12th, 2023.
At 3:56 p.m.
To the second. Or minute, but whatever.
Yeah, that's not the second.
But I love you. And I'm glad we are where we are, even though we may not be proud of where it started. And
good things can come from bad shit.
Yes.
That's how I look at it.
This is very true. But now that I've cried again, I know it was twice. But we can wrap this shit up now.
Start putting a cry counter like down in the bottom corner.
One of these episodes, I'm going to make it the whole episode without shedding a single tear. But it's just not this one. Maybe next time.
That means you're working through shit. So it should be a positive thing.
Yeah, I guess.
Fuck that.
Yeah, I guess. But, all right. But anything else? Yes? No? You do?
No,
you don't.
it was just
you do?
the butt
you
on
don't.
thing.
You do? You don't. You do? You don't. You need.
I already said my piece before you did.
You need to watch Corky Romano. Sorry.
Anyway.
Yes. All right. Well, maybe I won't cry next time. Tune in and find out for yourself as I wipe this last tear. Bye, guys. Thank you for listening to this week's episode. If you like this episode or know someone who would, please help us grow the show by liking, subscribing, and sharing. Keep up with all episodes on Buzzsprout or anywhere else you get your podcasts.
Tune in next week, folks. Same that time, same that channel.